In this lesson, we'll take a look at helpful reference images that will help guide us through our run cycle, and we'll also create the initial poses. So getting started, let's go ahead and first take a look at those reference images. And here they are. So just like our walk cycle, you can see that we have a series of poses that occur throughout the entire run. We have our contact position, a down position, we also have a peak point, and then we move right back to our contact position. So unlike the walk, of course, this is going to happen much faster, probably because the character's running. But you can see similarities still, so that kind of helps us to figure out what kind of poses we need to have to make sure that there's realism in our run. So let's keep this information in mind and get right back into Maya and use this to help us create a very fun and believable run cycle. Alright, let's say we get started. So our frame range is going to be 1 to 15. So this is a pretty normal speed. If you're working on a more stylized run, you might go ahead and decrease this a few frames. But for us, this is going to work out well. Alright, let's also go ahead and turn on our character set. Great. And we could go ahead and start to pose. So what we're starting with is actually what would be the character's passing position. So this is where one leg is back, one is up. Let's go ahead and grab the right IK leg, and we'll start to just drag this back. The left leg, we'll go ahead and bring this up. We're also aiming for good lines of action, just to make sure that there's appeal in the poses we create. I'll go ahead and bring the character center down a bit more, and we can start to work on the foot roll here. Let's press the 4 key, so we can go to wireframe mode and select the ball control for the character's right leg, and we'll want to go ahead and rotate that up so that there's a slight bend. Whenever you come to a pose where you're running into some IK locking, you can pose the leg where it looks fully extended, but there's a slight bend, just so we can prevent those issues. It's pretty annoying to have IK popping, so that's one way we can avoid those problems. I'll go to the left leg and rotate the ankle down. So go ahead and bring this down a bit more. We'll take our knee controls and let's go ahead and pull those forward so we don't run into flipping. We don't want them to get too close. Otherwise, again, we run into some flipping issues that are also annoying. For the hips, we can go ahead and start to rotate them out. We're working on this animation one layer at a time, so we're not going to just jump in and start to add complexities to this. I find it to be much more manageable if we just go ahead and kind of work on things, again, one section at a time. So what we're focusing on first is what we see in the side view, and then we can go in and add more detail. Alright, great. So I think that's working out well. Let's go ahead and grab the center of gravity. Now we know that the character, as the character either walks or runs, it's a series of falling off balance, regaining balance. For a run, the character is going to lean a bit more in. For speed, so push that weight forward. For a more stylized run, you can always have the center of gravity pushed even more forward. But since this is a pretty basic run, I think that the angle here is pretty decent. We can go ahead and take the center of gravity and kind of translate that down so we can, again, prevent IK locking and the leg that's extended, that right leg. Now, since the left leg is up, that means that at this point the right arm is going to be pushing forward. Let's go ahead and grab the torso and twist that over to the side. We'll now go ahead and grab the right arm and we can go ahead and rotate it, move forward. We're not going to have too much movement or too much rotation in the arm. We're not going to have this type of extreme arm movement as a character moves his arms back and forth. For more stylized actions, that would be the case, but for more of a realistic run, you're not going to have that. Now, if it's a sprinter, well, then that will determine how exaggerated your arms will move. But again, we're going for just a normal everyday run. So let's keep that in mind. We'll go ahead and grab the left arm. We'll want to pull that back, twist it around, and then we can go ahead and grab the elbow and rotate that down. All right, great. Looks like the arm here will need to move back a bit more. Arm swings back further than it moves forward. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'll go ahead and bring this up a bit more. All right, great. For the character's head control, I want to make sure that he's looking forward. Great. All right, how about the chest? So here, on about this pose, what we can do here is kind of rotate the chest so that it's kind of rotated forward just slightly here. And we'll go ahead and bring up the head a bit. So again, he's looking forward. Excellent. So take a look at our first pose. I think we're getting a really nice line of action in the arms, the legs, and the torso. So that looks nice. Might go to the neck control and rotate that forward as well. So kind of push that a bit more and then rotate the head up so it's not causing the character to look down. Now what I'd like to do from here is go in and pose the fingers to just kind of ball them up. So we can go ahead and select the controls from the index to the pinky, rotate them in. And now we can go to the mid and end sections and rotate those in. Just to quickly pose these. For the thumb, you can go ahead and rotate that down. Go to the mid and end sections, rotate those in. And then we'll want to bring that closer in. So this is a realistic fist. Great. And then feel free to kind of offset the controls a bit. So I might go to the ring finger, the pinky, and drop those down. Again, for a more natural disposition in the character's hand. Maybe offsetting the middle finger, bringing that up a bit more. Not too much. And I think that'll work out fine. So we can quickly pose the opposite side. Grab one of our keys here. I'll go ahead and turn off the character set. We'll just go ahead and copy one of the values here on our index finger. We can go ahead and highlight the controls, again from the index to pinky. On the left hand, right click and choose paste. And notice the fingers are now posed much faster. And again, you can just go in and kind of offset your controls here a bit. We will be aiming for equivalent values throughout the run, but for the hands, it's not a big deal. We can always just quickly go ahead and pose those. They don't have to be perfectly symmetrical at all. But if we aim for a symmetry in our cycles, in our walks and runs, it means that we can create something very fluid. I'm going to go ahead and paste the thumb just to take care of that. That looks good. All right, so that looks great for our initial pose. Let's go ahead and transfer this now to our end frame. That way our first and last frames are identical, so we can achieve a seamless cycle. That helps. What also helps is a midpoint, and we get a very nice midpoint when working with this range. So if we were to knock off one frame, that would be 1 to 14, so the midpoint would be 7, but since we have 15, our midpoint is 8. That's basically how that works. All right, so to transfer this now to frame 15, it's very simple to do since we have no animation here. We simply need to go ahead and click on frame 15 and press the S key. And what I'd like to do, just to be on the safe side, is go back to frame 1 and press S, just to kind of lock in this pose that we've set. All right, great. So we'll stop the lesson here. In the next lesson, we will mirror this pose using our widget, and we'll also take a look at a few other ways we can mirror quickly in Maya.